The migrants that fled war-torn Europe after World War II helped transform Australia's physical, cultural and culinary landscape. In northern Victoria, for instance, the Tripodi family's orchard flourished through hard work and enterprise. And when the current generation was looking to diversify, they found the solution quite literally in their parents' backyard.
The arrival of autumn marks the end of the fruit season in northern Victoria. And the last plums are rolling through the packing shed on their way to market.
Very pleased about that. It's been a long, long year.
We're at the end of the stone fruit season. In one way, it's very good. It's been a pretty tough season on stone fruit. Prices have been probably down 30% right across the board. But we're a bit more fortunate, probably the poor old citrus grower. We're here to chuck his fruit out. We were able to sell our product. But how long we can sustain these prices, we're not making money at. We're just creating bills to pay bills, and that's what we're doing at the moment.
An unusually wet and cool growing period may have been good for the orchards, but it meant a glut of fruit in the marketplace and low prices.
The last season that we've just finished has probably been one of the most challenging. Oversupply, and then on top of it, Sydney is faced with the wet weather, fairly cold, cloudy days, which is not conducive to buying stone fruit.
Narrowing margins are often a spur for change.
So this is why I'm trying to diversify in something else that no one's done. This is pretty well world first what we're doing here at the moment. This is the beginning of our edible gems packaging line.
Michael Tripodi firmly believes there are better margins in beans than in summer fruits. That may sound like heresy coming from the president of the region's Stone Fruit Growers Association, but he's not planning to bulldoze the orchards just yet. Rather, he's acting on an idea that sprang, quite literally, from his family's own backyard. Borlotti beans are part of the family's Italian heritage.
It's a bean you've been well familiar with. It's an old Italian, well, almost a staple in some.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's a staple food in the European community, you know. It's a peasant's food. It's a peasant's meat. It's got all the protein, all the iron that you need. And look, a lot of the seed come out from with our ancestors way back when they come out, but now we've got this variety. It's called Red Rooster.
And that plant's dying off now, putting all the goodness into the seed?
Yeah, the natural thing is that the bean dries off and all the goodness is going back into the seed to get that nice, rich red colour as a marbling effect. It's awesome the way it's happening.
That distinctive colour inspired the name Edible Gems. But launching this new brand of beans as a pre-shelled, ready-to-eat article has been no walk in the park.
It's great to finish the first 10 acres of mechanical harvest Borlotti beans. You look around and you think, how could we done this manually? You're in the machine probably for a day and we've done it. It's very exciting. I suppose it's a dream come true for my wife and I. It only can go one way and that's up. It can't go down. So, and with both our energies, it's very, very exciting to see this happening right now.
It may also be destiny. It's family folklore that back in 1938, when Michael Tripodi's grandfather emigrated from Italy to Australia, he smuggled some Borlotti bean seeds in his pocket. Tony Tripodi is still a little tight-lipped about his old man's quarantine breach.
In his pocket, I know he brought his little gun out with him.
The story goes he had some bean seeds there, I think.
Yeah, well, that's right, yeah.
Till now in Australia, Borlotti beans have only been grown on a small scale and sold unshelled. To develop the product, the Tripodis made 2 trips to the old country.
We had to go back to Bologna. We actually had to see the beans harvested for ourselves because to invest this sort of money, there was no way we were going to do it without actually seeing the beans. I was very worried that they might be damaged or bruised in some way, but they weren't. They're just beautiful. It's just amazing. So, yeah, I never have to shell beans again for as long as I live.
Borlotti beans are available at some greengrocers in their customary unshelled form. Today's consumers want a more convenient, ready-to-use product. So Michael and Gina Tripodi set out to devise ways to pick and shell them mechanically.
It's going to be very exciting to see the product come out of our machine. We've seen it in Italy. We know what it can do. Let's hope we can replicate everything here in Australia.
This is actually a pea picker.
It's a pea picker being modified to pick Bilotti beans. When we decide to harvest our peas, which we'll have some here towards June, we'll just change it back to the original specs.
The next big challenge was in the packing shed. Sourcing, buying, installing and fine-tuning the electronic sorting and packaging machines.
We've got a state-of-the-art machinery. We haven't left any stone unturned. It's a very expensive exercise to do, you know, it's very costly and the reward will be there at the end, but to get to the end, well, it's time, energy, and it is money as well. And, you know, lucky I've got a good banker at the moment. He loves me and I love him, so it's fantastic.
Launching a new product normally takes a year in planning alone. The Tripodis designed and produced the packaging and developed all the marketing channels in half that time.
It's been a rush. I've pushed everyone to the max. It's been very, very hectic and, yeah, busy.
Like mashed potato. These.
Then they crisscrossed the nation doing product launches.
We've got all the Facebook, all the internet going, because of course this is all the way it is done now. And I'm really pleased too because we can just put so much information up there and so people can watch the process of the beans being growing. It's not just, you know, here's the product. They can see actually what's been happening out on the farm with what Michael's been doing and the growing and the dust storms and the bugs and all the lovely things. But at the end of the day, you get this beautiful, beautiful, natural, wonderful product, which is so good for you.
Ask me what's the difference between fresh and dry.
Bilotti beans have put Gina in the public spotlight.
Longer than what I normally soak.
And then this is going to be with the spaghetti, so I'm making just a little sauce. Simply add some water and then we add the beans. You never ever salt beans because it hardens the skin. Some cracked black pepper and then I just put some fresh herbs. 20 minutes later you've got the most beautiful, delicious bean to use in anything. Anybody can do it, even a man. Easy, that's it. I walk away, it's done.
The Bilotti bean venture has the full backing of Michael's father, Tony.
He's all guns blazing, you're trying something new. He's very excited about the whole project.
The Tripodis are the model migrant success story. Tony's father, with the smuggled beans in his pocket, came to Australia in 1938. His wife and young family were set to follow soon after. Then war erupted.
Because the war, we didn't know whether he was alive or we were alive because there was no such a thing as writing the letters or anything. You weren't allowed.
In wartime Italy, beans helped stave off starvation.
In Italy, they used to live on it, especially those war years, which wasn't much food around. You couldn't even buy salt, let alone anything else. Whether you had money or not, didn't matter. War's war, you know, and everybody looks after himself.
The family was reunited in 1948. By then, Tony's father was growing citrus. And from there, the family business has kept expanding.
That's about what Dad done. Took it on from him and took another step. Now Michael going 1 or 2, 3 step up the ladder, so as long as he doesn't fall over, he'll be right.
Much is being learnt along the way.
Our plantings are probably too far apart to have a continual line, so that's one thing I have learnt. We have to plant closer. We'll probably grow up to probably 200 acres next year if all goes well. It's pretty tough on the land in anyone's language. So this again, diversifying, trying something new, trying to create something that probably at the moment no one else has got. It's not an everyday commodity, it's something seasonal, and that's what we intend to keep it as, seasonal.
The growing season for Bilotti beans ends in late autumn. Fresh, unshelled beans grown in Queensland are still available at specialist greengrocers. The Tripodis are thinking beyond Bilottis. They plan to have their production line rolling all year round.
We'll do peas, we'll try and do peas 12 months of the year if we can, because that's one thing people expect 12 months of the year, so we're going to try and do that. We'll do broad beans, which is something it's very trendy right now to eat broad beans when you go out. We'll do a flageolet bean, which is a French green bean. That'll come on board as well. We'll do a red kidney bean.
Michael and Gina Tripodi are trying to import a variety of cannelloni bean as well. Their next challenge is getting shelf space for their products with the major supermarkets.
Ready for spaghetti, ready for rice, ready for a salad, ready for a dip, ready for anything.